Hello everyone, so today we're going to be looking at the sine and the cosine rule. The absolute key to this question is identifying what formula you're going to be using. Once you've done that, it becomes a simple substitution. So let's have a look at the first question. It gives you ABC is a triangle and we want to find that length AB. So how are we going to start? We're always going to label the side that we need little a. So here is my little a, which means the opposite is my big A. B and C don't really matter when you're finding missing lengths and angles, so I'm going to keep this as big B, and this can be my little b, and then this is going to become my big C and little c. Always label your own triangles, don't let the question label it for you. So once I've got that, I need to decide what formula I'm going to use. And hopefully we can see from the diagram that you have this C-shaped sausage that I can draw around the sides and angles I've been given. So because I've got that shape there, I know I need to use the cosine rule. So let's get the cosine rule formula on your page. You need to learn this off by heart. It's not given to you in the exam. So our formula is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Learn it off by heart, write it out 3 times, cover it, write it again. You need to be able to put it on the page in the exam and get it correct. So bracket, bracket, a squared equals, everywhere I've got a letter now, I'm going to put a bracket. Bracket, bracket squared plus bracket, bracket squared minus 2, bracket, 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 cos, bracket, bracket. All I need to do now is just drop my numbers in. So if I do it in different colours so you can see, my numbers here are 6 and 7. So B is 6, C is 7. B is 6 again, C is 7, and here I've got cos on my angles, this is cos 60. This can now go straight into my calculator exactly as you see it on your page, no different. And it gives us a value of a squared as 43. If I want to find a, I'm going to do the opposite of squaring. The opposite of squaring is to square root, so I'm going to square root both sides and say that a is equal to the square root of 43. So a is equal to 6.5574. The question then asks for 3 significant figures. So if I'm doing 3 significant figures, I'm counting 3 numbers, starting with a non-zero number at the start. So 1, 2, 3. Draw the line. I'm looking at that 7 and I need to decide, am I going to be rounding up or am I sticking with it the same? So in this case, this is telling me to round up. So I'm going to finish my answer by saying this is 6.56. So my final answer here is 6.56 centimetres. And that's my missing length A. Have a look at your triangle. Make sure that your numbers aren't wildly off. Because I've already got a 6 centimetres here and a 7 centimetres here, an answer of 6.56 centimetres seems pretty logical. Okay, let's keep going. So, next question. I've got another triangle ABC and they're now asking me to find the area of the triangle. Now, there are 2 formulas that you can use to find the area of the triangle. So let's have a look at both these formulas. One option, A equals a half times the base times the height. But remember, that height has to be the perpendicular height. So if you're going to use this h, it has to be the perpendicular height to the base. So that's your key when you're using this formula. Have you got a perpendicular height? Your second formula, A equals a half AB sine C. This formula doesn't need a perpendicular height, but what it does need is an angle. So if the triangle they've given you includes an angle, that's your clue that you need to be using this formula, a half AB sine C. So in this question, because they've given me this angle of 64, I'm automatically thinking I'm going to be having to use a half AB sine C. In this formula, I need the angle C. So this time, I'm going to label it first by finding the angle and labeling that C. So this side here becomes C. This becomes little c. The A and the B don't really matter. I'm going to stick with it the same. So this can stay as A and little a. This is B and little b. But remember, you label your triangle. Don't let the question label it for you. Same as what I was doing before. Now this becomes basic substitution. So I'm going to say the area equals a half, bracket, 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 sine, bracket, bracket. And I'm just going to drop my numbers in. So, little a here, 14.6, little b, 9.2, and sine 64. And that just gets put straight into my calculator exactly as you see it on your page. Exactly as you see it on your page. And we should get the answer that the area is equal to 60.3630. They're asking for 3 significant figures. That means I'm going to count 3 numbers, starting with a non-zero number, 1, 2, 3, draw the line, look at the 6. Is the 6 telling me to round up, or is it telling me to round down? Round up or stay the same. So my area should be 60.4. So final answer, this area is equal to 60.4 centimetres squared. Metres squared. Got to read the question. Metres squared. Okay. Part B. Calculate the length of AB. This is worth 3 marks. Look at your diagram. The diagram's already looking a bit fussy. Redraw that triangle to make sure that you've got absolute clarity in terms of what you're drawing. So I'm going to redraw my triangle. Here it is. I'm going to put my lengths on. So I know that I've got a 9.2 and a 14.6. And they've also given me the angle. My angle is 64, so I can put that on as well. So that's the information I've got on this triangle. Hopefully, once you've redrawn it, it becomes a bit more obvious what rule you're going to be using. They're asking me to find the length AB. AB is this length here on my triangle. So because I'm now finding a length, I'm going to label this little a. This becomes big A, and the other 2 sides don't really matter. So I could call this big B, and this would be little b. I could call this big C, and this would be little c. Okay? Hopefully you've been thinking about what formula you're going to use. Once you've labelled it up, we can see, 1, you've got no matching pairs, and also we should recognise we've got a lovely corner here. So we've got the 2 sides and the angle in between, a nice C sausage, which means we're going to be using the cosine rule. So let's get the cosine rule written down on your page. You need to learn it off by heart, it's not given in the exam. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. Write it out every time nice and clearly. Now let's do our brackets. A squared equals bracket squared plus bracket squared minus 2 bracket cos bracket. Next job, drop our numbers in. So in this case, my B value is 14.6. My C value is 9.2. 14.6, 9.2. And in here, I've got 64. So all I need to do is sub that whole thing into my calculator, press equals, and you'll get an answer for A squared. So I put that into my calculator, my answer for A squared gives us 180.035. Square root both sides, and I get an A value of 13.4177. This question again is asking for 3 significant figures. So again, I'm going to my numbers, I'm counting 3 digits starting with a non-zero number, 1, 2, 3, drawing a line, looking at that 1 and I'm deciding, is that pushing me up or am I staying the same? In this case, we should notice that this means I stay exactly the same. My A value is 13.4, and let's check our units, I believe are meters. There's my answer.